I met you at Hyrule Day, and I was like, yo, you're fucking dope. And we linked up, and we got you the show and all that stuff like that. So I just want to let everybody know she's fucking ill. Like trust. So I just wanted to give you flowers there.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, to tell you the truth, like that was the first time I ever did a silent disco. That was the first time ever, like DJing in one headphone and the other headphone, and it was just like, but it's one of those things like you just got to adjust and and I am very grateful to you because I have my show because of you.
Absolutely. Because you're dope. I mean, I tracked you down. I mean, I think we started. I don't know if we talked at that part. I think did I get your information? Yeah, I think I yelled at you. I was yelling at you while you were DJing. I was an asshole. I was like, yeah, I got us up to her like fucking.
No, you.
No, I mean not an asshole. I mean, but I mean, I was like, I was pumped, like because she was so dope. Everybody just said, like, I guys like when you have parties, you go to a party over the years or something, or some event, and there's just things that stick out. Like this will forever stick out because you were killing it, and you took me back to like. You took me back, and so we're going to get into it. But I definitely just wanted to let you know I really appreciate you, and yeah, I mean, it was my pleasure to help you get that show, and you're doing it. You're doing it. You got it on Beat Miners Radio. Her show's on Rap FM. It's also on Beat Miners Radio. Big up, Mr. Walt. So Evil D. So
I definitely appreciate you for that.
So let's get into it, man. I love history. I love knowing where people come from and stuff like that. I'm from Hartford. You're from Boston. So Boston area. So how'd you get into this, man? I mean, you are an anomaly, the female DJ in this male dominated shit. So how'd you get into this? You're a B girl, still doing it. You know what I mean? So how did it all start?
I mean, I've been literally playing records and dancing since I was like I started off, with my parents for like they're 45s. Like I started off with 50s and 60s, and of course back then it was the 70s. So I was all into 50s and 60s and 70s music, and I'd be in the cellar. I'd be in my grandparents' cellar, just playing records and dancing. And I just always had a love for it. And I started off with like a lot of my parents had like 50s and 60s 45, so I started off with like Motown, doo-wop, like all like the really great groups and artists from back then. And I've just always collected records over the years. Like I remember buying records when I was like 5 years old. There was a record store up the street. I'd be wanting to go buy records. And, so I stayed, playing records, and I got more into dancing. And I got into breaking, obviously. Like I was teaching hip hop. I was doing a bunch of stuff and like choreography and different things because when New Kids on the Block and New Edition came out from Boston, everybody had a group. Everybody and their mother had a group. So like I was dancing in a group. I was doing choreography for groups, and it was just like the thing to do back then because of course everybody thought they were going to blow up because they were from Boston, being New Kids and New Edition, and there were like some little groups here and there like kind of blowing up. So
Where are you from? What area? What area? I can't. You're going out a little bit. What area of Boston are you from?
Oh, I grew up in Boston. I was born in Jamaica Plain.
Okay. Where is that? I've only in Boston. I shouldn't say this. I've partied at certain spots, but as far as I've chilled in Roxbury, and I went to that store. It was the Adidas store. It was like Harry the Greek or some shit.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's all. That's the only. I mean, it's what I recall. Where's Jamaica Plains in relation to that?
Jamaica Plain is right next to Roxbury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My parents, they grew up in Jamaica Plain and Roxbury, so I lived in Jamaica Plain, then I lived in Rosendale, and I've lived all over. I live in Dorchester now, and it's funny because I was living in Honolulu.
Hold on. Damn. My bad. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I've lived all around Boston. I lived in Southie for years. I lived in Dorchester for a long time. So I've been all over the place.
Yo, what's the vibe like there? I mean, speaking, I mean, I've been there. I've chilled there. I've been in shows there. I like Boston. I mean, overall, what's the vibe? What would you say being from there?
I mean, the vibe is good. Like, back in the 90s, it was great. Like I feel like every DJ I was around, every club I went to, like every DJ was great. Like there was not a bad DJ ever that, I would go and, to different places. But I mean, now it's kind of like there's not a lot going on here as far as hip hop. Like there aren't a lot of hip hop shows here. And if they are here, they're like early. They're like from 7 to 11.
Yeah, yeah.
Late night shows like they used to be. So I don't know, like I'm always looking for something to do, and I feel like, at this point at my age, like I don't want to go out unless there's like good music and there's something to do and there's someone to see that I really want to see.
Right,
But
right.
it's got to be something like that, and I feel like it's getting more rare.
Yeah, no, I think you could say that about a lot of places. And when you said, "Oh, it was dope here in the '90s," I'm like, "Oh, it was dope where I was in the '90s too." And then it's whack now in a lot of places. I mean, I think
Yeah.
or just the energy is different. You got some people who are kind of, I don't know, some people, families and stuff, they kind of just, and then they, I mean, I've talked to friends and they're like, so I don't know. It's a different, I mean, it's different. You can't replicate like an era though. So, I mean, I'm not trying to, I try not to look for that. But like you said, you made a good point. I don't go out unless it really a point to go out. I mean,
Like, I just feel like back then there was a lot more to do and there wasn't these time restrictions and there was a lot more shows going on. I feel like it's not really like that anymore.
no, that's a good point. I think it was a more rebellious time. I mean, shit was just, I mean, not that I want to like be out all night every night or anything like that, but there were options,
Yeah.
right? There were options. I mean, at least, and at least I found in a lot of cities now, with the exception of New York, LA, or whatever, that in smaller cities, that if like one group isn't putting on some shit, then it's not happening. Like whatever it, like whatever it, whoever it is, like if they're not doing, it's like one group is kind of carrying a lot of places, like scenes. I've found, at least it's like that in some spots out here. So, but yeah, I was gonna say to you. So all right, but like, when did the aha moment come? Well, because I want to talk about the breaking and stuff too. But when did the aha moment come with well, first let's get into how did you get into like? Were you in like a little? You said you were in a crew, right? Like, so were you? How'd you get into? Take us into the details of that, as far as like just the actual. Did you have a name and shit? Like, how far did you go with it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I used to dance with a crew called the Floor from Boston. They're one of the oldest crews in the United States. They're from 1981.
Well, and you cut out when you said it was a floor.
Oh, the Floor Lords.
Yep, I heard of them. Yep.
Yep, I danced with them for 22 years. I mean, I was traveling, performing, and doing all of that stuff for practically half my life. So yeah, I got to see a lot. I experienced a lot. It was a good time, definitely.
Yeah, I saw that shit you put up on from you in the source.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, you were in the source. I was like, oh shit, she did that shit. I was like, word, I was pumped. That was like '98, right?
Yeah, yeah, yep. I mean, I started breaking in like '96.
Okay.
So, there was a lot going on back then. There were a ton of shows. Did a ton of shows. I opened up a big pun. Like, it's funny because there was a lot going on in Providence. There was more going on in Providence than there was in Boston at one point.
Oh, Providence has been hot. Yo, people sleep on Providence. Like, because Rhode Island, Providence has been hopping in a lot of areas for a while. In the '90s, bro, Providence was off the hook because we go there from like New London. So
yeah, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of shows. Like, seemed like there was something going on like every weekend. You know, like I saw a ton of people there. I performed there a lot with a lot of people. There were more B-boy crews in Providence than there were in Boston back then.
Yeah, Providence was, you know, people sleep. People sleep on a lot of shit. I mean, New England in general, as far as stuff goes. So, um, when did the DJing come in? I mean, as far as like what you do now.
Um, it's funny because I started DJing before I was breaking. I was DJing in '94. Like I bought my first set of turntables, mixer, all that in '94.
Oh, word?
Yeah, I was working at a club,
Mm-hmm.
the waitress at a club, and I mean the DJ was that was there was like ridiculous. And you know, I was just like, I want to do that. Like I always played records, I always collected records, but like, you know, and of course the movie Juice, like you saw it like on that scale, but you know, it was just like wow, like but I never thought about doing anything like that. I mostly got into DJing from like the mixing aspect of it, like the mixing and the music and just creating a vibe. You
Right.
know, I learned like a lot of that from like just working at a club. And
On
it
your own?
made me to, I was like, I saved up my money, I bought the turntables, and you know what? I put the shit together and figured it out myself.
Word?
Yeah.
And then you just started. I mean, so like nobody, you didn't have anybody take you under your wing or anything?
No, I had nobody teaching me. I just went on my own. And I actually, I started off with Snoop Dogg's album. I had 2 copies of Snoop Dogg's album, and I learned how to mix with that.
But how'd you know that? Like, if you weren't fucking it up, like how'd you know when you were? Because you're good. So how'd you know? I mean, you didn't start out good. So how'd you know when you what?
I just sat there and taught myself. I didn't have anybody to like teach me. Like I wasn't around really anybody other than, you know, the DJ that I saw at the club. So I just did it myself. Like I figured it out.
That is fucking dope. That's so ill. But I mean, like, all right. But let's take us through like a rough. So you started, okay? But then like, I mean, so was he like? I mean, how'd you get like your transitions and shit? Because I don't. I mean, how'd you figure out like, okay, this was right? I mean, or like, I mean, that's crazy. You know, so the whole time, like, nope, there's no like,
No, nobody. I
that's
just
so ill.
I just figured how I figured out how to mix on my own. I was just like, you know what, like, fuck it. I'm just gonna do it, and that's it. Like, and I just went
Free
from there.
YouTube, everything. I mean, this ain't you can't. You're not watching no YouTube.
No, there was no YouTube. Like, I just went by what I heard, like from, you know, like mixtapes or, you know, other like going out and seeing other DJs. Like back then you had to seek out. You couldn't just find it on YouTube. You couldn't just go on, you know, the computer and look it up.
Right.
You had to seek it out. Like you had to go places and find DJs that were good and listen. You know, it was just going by that.
That is fucking dope, yo. That's that's ill, man. I mean, like, yo, that's some of the illest shit. So, okay, so were you doing shows and stuff like that? Or were you just in the crib? I mean, 'cause I talked to DJ Ace, and he was like, yo, I didn't do. He's like, I was a bedroom DJ. You know what I mean? I just fucking rocked in the crib. I mean, like, where'd you take it after that?
It's funny because I was doing like a lot of underground parties. Like I had some friends that I used to like, you know, um, I ended up meeting up with these guys that I was like, you know, going to their house and they had DJ equipment and they were just like, you know, they were organizing like these like underground warehouse parties in Dorchester. And I was just, I started DJing those. And it's funny because like all of a sudden they put out a flyer. They were putting out like flyers for it. And I was like, I don't think I'm on the flyer. And they're like, yeah, you're on the flyer. You're DJ, who's that girl?
Oh
That was,
yeah, tell me about that name. Yeah.
yeah, that was the first DJ name, who's that girl? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? And they, and we, you know, everybody kept asking at the party, yo, who's that girl? So we just decided to name you that. Like, we'll just put you on the flyer as that. I was like, all right. This was like in '95.
Word.
I was doing parties here and there. Like I was doing parties for like my friends. Like I was just like whatever. Like I was just out buying records all the time. I was out 3 or 4 days a week buying records.
Damn, so you got the bug.
Yeah, and
But you had always had it though, you said. Like, I mean, from like fucking that's crazy. But
yeah,
so how'd
yeah,
you get to Hawaii, man?
huh?
How'd you get to Hawaii? Like where was that? That was when I met you, you were just about to move back from Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah. I was out there for like 4 years, and it's funny because I don't know. I just was like, I kept going out there, and I was like, you know what? I just want to move out there. And I just moved out there, and I was DJing out there. Like I was DJing like a lot of because it's funny. I was breaking. I kind of like I started breaking in '96. I left DJing alone for a while because to tell you the truth, I didn't like a lot of the music that was coming out. I didn't like a lot of the hip hop, like '97 ish, '98. I was like, this is So I was mostly breaking, but then I had a knee injury that like put me out, and then I got back into DJing, and I realized like I can DJ b-boy battles, like from going to competitions and whatever, and they were all playing like the 90s hip hop and breaks and stuff that I was already playing. But from there, like I just was like, all right, like I started DJing b-boy battles. I was doing that a lot in Hawaii.
Right. That's dope. What part of the island were you on?
I was in Honolulu.
Oh, okay. What's the vibe like out there? I mean, I visited, but I mean, I was just a tourist. I mean, I was just in Maui. What's the vibe? I mean, but my man East Three was on here. He's a graph writer out there. I don't know.
He did my art.
I can't. Oh, he did.
Yeah, he did my artwork for my logo.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
knew I recognized that. I mean, he did the DJ Safire hand style.
Yeah.
Oh, word. Salute, man. He's been on the page. Been fucking with him for a minute. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Ah, there he is. What up, man? You know what I'm saying? Ah, that's dope. So
Yeah.
you met him out there?
Yeah, yeah. I actually met him out there, and but yeah, I mean the vibe is dope out there. Like I like, they're like Hawaii, like they're into like real music. Like there's a lot of musicians out there.
Mm.
There's there's like a lot of hip hop bands out there.
Oh,
So yeah, like when you go out, like sometimes there'll be like five hip hop bands on the bill. So it's crazy, like the music, like and they all like all the b-boys out there, like they dance, like they know how to dance, like
uh,
they like because sometimes you see b-boys like from different areas that they don't dance.
what did they do then? Because I rail on this shit all the time. I mean, but I want to hear from somebody else because I'm always. What did they do?
Exactly, like they do a lot of moves. They don't really dance, but
Yeah, I was like a circus, right? This trapeze.
yeah, it's just Cirque du Soleil, basically.
No up rocking, no top rock, no soul. I mean, some of it's like who does the crazy? They're all jacked and shit. It's dope, but like the crazy hell. I mean, yo, that shit is fire. I cannot do it. I'm not hating on that, but like you gotta have the fucking. It's a dance, yo. It's not a
Yeah,
gym.
it's foundation. Like you have to be able to dance. You have to be able to, you know, in your, it's a dance. It's not a sport. Not, just doing a bunch of tricks.
Well, how do you feel about it being in an Olympics soon? Because I'm personally not a fan. I mean, just put it out there, but like I think it's gonna water it down. But
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's been talked about for so many years that I knew eventually it was bound to happen.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I would hate to see it lose its essence. But in a way, it's already kind of starting to with like YouTube, and people can learn anywhere, and
Yeah.
all these outlets now, and it's not the same as actually being taught by somebody. Like people could just learn on YouTube.
Right. No, we had a kid in our crew here. He came here. He was a student. He was from Honduras, and he had started rocking maybe like 2 or 3 years before. And he could do some crazy shit. But like we had to teach him like you have to learn how to dance. Listen to the music. The music's like we had to show him it, but it was so and his whole crew. He showed me videos. His whole crew could fly. They could fly around the room, but they couldn't rock. They didn't even know. It didn't matter what the beat was. It could be like techno, house,
Yeah.
90s, J-Roo. They're doing like fucking crazy fast shit to like, I don't know, like a slow ass joint. You know what I mean? So,
And
but yeah.
is like the breaking off whatever that like I see like I've been out with dudes and they're at the club and they're playing some bullshit and they're breaking off of it and I'm like, what are you doing? Like it's just not. I agree with you 100% on that.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, but I've always talked to a lot of people. You can say that about a lot of the elements. The DJ is different, and I wanted to talk about that with you because you posted something recently. Salute to Honduras. I was actually going to go out there recently,
Oh,
but you posted something recently. It was a comment and just said turntables are looking more obsolete. So elaborate. Because that was just a one sentence thing, and I don't want to read into it. So I want to hear what you have to say about it. I have my opinion about it, but I just want to hear what you have to say.
yeah. It's just now when you go out to DJ, you don't know what the hell you're going to be DJing on. There's always like a different controller, and you have to go through all the shit with your computer. You got to download drivers. You got to make sure it's compatible, and I mean, I don't use controllers like ever. Like I use turntables 100%. I don't even know how to use one. I go there and I feel like I'm just pushing buttons. I'm not even touching a record. And if I try to touch the thing, it's like so sensitive that I can't even, like, you can't do nothing with it. It's not moving. I don't know what the hell is going on.
So what do they have you set up on? Like, because I've seen, so when I started seeing the CDJs, and I was like, I wanted to ask you about that. Ask her about that too, Omega. He said he brings his own set. Like, so you don't bring your own shit with you?
I mean, honestly, I'd rather bring my own shit with me, but if I'm like in another state, I can't carry all my
Yeah.
cables and ship all the shit. It's going to cost me a fortune to do that, but I'm local. I'd rather bring my own stuff just because, you know, I'd rather know what I'm going to be DJing on and know that I can get loose as opposed to being on a controller and just feeling like I'm pushing buttons. Like that takes the whole fun and artistry like out of it.
I mean, yeah, yeah. So I feel like I don't DJ. I was the one element I didn't have the bread to get into. I always wanted to, but it's always been something that I've been passionate about, just as far as like understanding about it. And just from my perspective, what I've seen, like when I see people go straight from like not doing anything to all of a sudden push buttons and all that stuff like that, and they call themselves DJs, that's a hard sell for me. And to me, it's an insult to people like you that do it. Serato, whatever. But like to me, you can learn all the fancy shit, but you still need. It's like the b-boying, right? Do all the fancy shit, but you need to know the foundation, right? Like I don't have a problem with Serato or anything like that, but like, what if your shit breaks, right? Like, what if something goes out or whatever, like some type of doohickey fucks up, and now you got to be on the pivot and like, on the fly and do your shit. What do you do then? You know?
And that's the thing. People are so dependent on computers now. Well, people are just bringing thumb drives now and just plugging them into, whatever set they have there. And it's like,
Wow.
I don't get all of this, like, I mean, yeah, I always respect people that DJ like vinyl sets and stuff like that. Uh, I don't really mess too much with vinyl. I have some, but I DJ with Serato. But I use the turntables, I use the records. Like I'm not. I'm very traditional when it comes to that. Like I actually like touching a record that moves, and I like being able to manipulate it. I don't like pushing buttons and depending on buttons to do everything for me.
Right.
Fun out of it.
Right. No, and it's like that with a lot of things. I mean, graphic design has changed. I mean, I went to school for that. Now anybody in the world can be a graphic designer, design a website, like anybody. I mean, so you can do it on your phone. So a couple, they got dope shit on your phone. Like I don't use Photoshop no more, man. I go on my phone and make all my graphics in like 10 minutes. Wifey makes the graphics, sits there and fucking while you're watching TV. Like so, yeah. I mean, it's like that with a lot of things. I mean, and then the essence gets lost. Someone said, if they want you to spin the way you spin, they'll have what you need to spin on. If not, no go. Yeah, somebody said, Jay said, learn the fundamentals. Yeah, it's all about the fundamentals and everything, in any craft, right? It could be, we're talking hip hop, it could be anything, any skill, the basics, right? You don't start out fucking playing a violin all super dope. Like you learn them fucking whatever shits, so.
And it's like, like technology has made it like so easy for everyone to do now that I feel like, DJs on, I feel like at some points I'm making less as a DJ than DJs used to make back in the 90s because they don't want to pay DJs anymore because anybody can do it. They can get any Joe like off the street to DJ.
Facts. Yeah.
Technology.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I say, like, my playlist is dope. I'll put my playlist up against anybody. I mean, fuck it. I'll just plug my shit in. So people do it all the time. Have you seen, like, there was a video, it was legit, of, like, a club of, like, no, I mean, a party. It was a rave or something or some shit. There's, like, thousands of people, and they had the person DJing, but it was just, they had a cardboard cutout, like, of like, the setup. And they were just bopping around doing nothing. It was like, so. What'd you say?
Because you can do that now. Like
right.
You really just do that, and because it's become easy, like it's just easy for everybody to do, and it's becoming less of a skill.
So, all right. So I have that on my list. All right, the DJ's been minimized. I mean, over the years, but in hip hop, and I'll say in hip hop. I mean, not so much in like. I'm a big house head and techno head, like good techno. I know shitty techno, but like, there's a difference. Like I feel like in hip hop, the DJs, promote it. They don't want to pay DJs shit. So like, and I see DJs, I see it on Sinister's page, I see it on Rob Swift's page, I see it on everybody. DJs that are really about this shit. I see you guys, and I'm like, damn, man, and I see it all the time. So how do we correct that? Like, how do DJs eat and stuff in 2022? What do you do?
I mean, work another job, find other outlets, unless you like that you're getting booked and you're making good money and you've been, because even if you've been around for a long time, like it doesn't seem to matter because, the way bars and clubs look at it, like they're losing money the more they pay you. And it's like, well, yeah, but I can get this guy to DJ for $50. And like they don't really care about the quality.
They just want to play music.
I mean, places that do care about the quality, that actually know the difference, are willing to pay. But the ones that don't, they're not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because I guess they're just willing to. They just want to hear the music. I mean, they just want the music to come out of the speakers. We don't give a fuck how you're doing it. Like, and so they're not valuing the service. They're not valuing the craft. I mean, so that's the problem. Less people value the craft of DJing. It's like becoming like this real niche thing. I mean, so I mean, for you, but you've been. I mean, I'm on your page, man. You seem like you've been around, like doing shit, like just in general, like just. I mean, like you've been at some pretty good parties, right? You can tell it, right? I've seen on your shit. Didn't you What was the one I saw recently that you, weren't you in, tell me, weren't you in, was it a Brooklyn party or something that you did?
Yeah, yeah. I was doing them once a month out in Brooklyn at Project Paula. I was funk night, nothing but the funk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. Like I love DJing there because like people actually like appreciate the music. Like I've had people run up to me like, if I'm playing like a song and be like, yo, EPMD used that as a sample. And I'm like, yes, like I love that. Like I love when people come up to me and like they know and they appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are good parties. I mean, like it's a relationship that we have with you while you're there. I mean, that's how I look at it. Like it's a vibe, you know what I mean? Like, so what do you rock? So tell everybody, I mean, you made some breaks and shit, but like, so I heard her, everybody out there, I heard Safire, like it was 90s shit, this fire shit, back to back to back to back to back bangers. And her show, The Rewind, we got that on Rap FM and it's on Beat Miners Radio. And you have that one, right? You still have that?
Yeah.
That's still the same joint, right? Yeah, so same vibe on that.
Yeah, same vibe. Like I'm like a strictly old school head. Like I mostly stick to like 80s and 90s hip hop. I play breaks, funk. I do a lot of classic soul. Like sometimes like I'll throw in some new funk because they got some new funk that's pretty good. But I don't really mess around a lot with new stuff unless it's like 90s caliber. Like 90s hip hop set too much of a bar for me, and I feel like I can't. There's no going back after that.
Yo, so we had Granddaddy IU on, and he was like, I said, "What do he's really candid." I said, "What do you listen to now?" He's like, "Nothing." And what do you do? And he's like, "Nothing, nothing." And he said, he's like, "How you gonna out gangster Cool G rap? Like it's Cool G rap. Like how you gonna like? Because I've heard it all. So I mean, that's his opinion. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, I've heard it all. Like it's cool, but like, cool, like you can't." So I hear you. So you're a '90s head. Like I mean, I know, man. Your shit is like '80s, '90s head. So you don't fuck with anything. I mean, you're not listening to anything new.
um, Not really. I mean, like it has to be like a serious banger, like for me to really.
All right.
The way I judge a song, like right away, like if I listen to a song and I'm like, do I want to hear it again? And the answer is no, then it's gone.
Of course. There you go.
I'll
Thank you.
never even deal with it ever again.
Right. Yeah. Like I hate when people talk about like, yeah. If I'm not listening, if it's not a song I want to listen to again, then it's not a good song to me. I mean, like, right?
No.
It's easy enough. It's easy criteria. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out a game. I'm gonna play a game with you at some point, like where I'm gonna send you some. I'm gonna try to even post it, send you some joints, and see if like, because I mean, based on how our page is, I have to be in tune with the new shit. So, like, I want to try to see if I can get in your brain and send you some shit where you be like, all right, I would fuck with that, like just to see, where your head's at. Because
No,
yeah, wifey, man, she be like, yeah. Nah, she in the same shit. Like she's this '90s girl. Like, it was different.
yeah, it's set too much of a high bar for it to go down from there. You know what I mean? Like I've been waiting for it to. I was waiting for it to go up, and I feel like it just kept going down, 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 down. Like and the way things are now, it's like you actually give songs a chance that you would never before give a chance to, just because there's so much shit out there.
Yes, and that's why I feel like there are certain artists out there. And I'm not going to even get into it right now. There's certain artists out there that are blown up now that wouldn't have blown up back then. And I do this test sometimes when I'm from low in my shit and I'm talking about it, and someone's like, "Oh, this dude's so dope," and I'm like, "Yo, are they better than so and so? Are they better than Black Moon? Are they better than No. Black Thought? No. No. Try, and it's like no, and the answer's always no, right? Like, are they? No. And so I'm saying, if you take your J. Cole's, your Kendricks, or whoever people, it's like, no. Are they better than if you put them back? And I say they're good for now. Like, and they don't mumble and shit, but it's like, yo, if you take some of these cats and put them back in the day, they'd be average.
Yeah, and like even the production, I feel like is a lot of it is average. It's not something that is like I feel like it's at the same BPM, like beats per minute. I feel like a lot of it kind of sounds similar, and it's kind of missing. I feel like there are a lot of producers from back then that went so far with it that they're trying to keep up with the times as opposed to just keeping it at what they used to be, and we're probably missing out on a lot of good music as far as that because let's face it, a lot of it doesn't get played.
Right. No, listen, and this is why, for me, but again, based on our page, when we do the CTC spotlight, so we put out new stuff. We try to pump new stuff because it can't go on. I mean, and so it is if we don't help it. So for us, we try to spotlight adult music. We try to graph all the shit, But from a music perspective, we really try to push it. But yeah, you have to look. I mean, it's not like but I always say those, man, like we were kind of spoiled. Like shit just. Shit was dropping on Arsenio Hall. Shit was dropping on In Living Color. Like, I think I first heard the scenario on In Living Color or something like that. Like, 3 Times Dope was on Arsenio Hall show. So I think it was a different time. All the shit was, the commercial shit was the dope shit back then. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like that now. You know what I mean? So now if you're really, and then it kind of went left. It's like, all right, then people kind of said, all right, well, I'm still going with the commercial shit. Whatever's popular, I'm going with that. It could be anything. And then
Yeah.
the real said, okay, we're going this way. But now we're a niche. Like anybody about the real shit is like, we're the anomaly now.
Yeah, it's rare to find like I like being in the b-boy scene because at least like I know like a lot of people within that scene actually understand and appreciate a lot of like the 90s music obviously because like it's funny like I'll go to b-boy practice and 20-year-old dudes in there know the lyrics to like Main Source,
Right.
other old songs, and I'm like wow, like and I seeing that because that shows like okay, like these kids understand it and they like it and they're dancing to it, but like normally it's hard to find like people that actually have an appreciation and like a real understanding for it.
Yeah, no, it's a different time. Someone said everyone is a psychotic cool killer these days. And you're talking about the production, like someone that's spooky beats. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's cookie cutter shit right now, man. It's really cookie cutter. I mean, but again, I can't. I mean, we get dope shit. I like to say we post dope shit, that's new, and so there's dope music out there. It's just, but it's different. And and if you're older, you're spoiled. We're all spoiled, man. I could come home after school, put on Yo MTV Raps, Rap City, Video Music Box, whatever, and rock out, like, you know what I mean. So it was just it's different now. Now we got to fight through like the chiclet teeth, purple hair, shit. So, so I don't know if you, as far as in your interviews, if you've gotten this question before, but to me, I definitely want to ask you, being female, being a white female in a male dominated shit, like what's any, have you had, if any challenges at all, like with just with that?
yeah, I mean I've had a ton of challenges. um I mean it's not easy being a female like in an all dominated scene. I always felt like I had to work extra hard. You have to work that much harder and be able to sustain a lot more because you know, like I see a lot of girls, like especially B girls, like, you know, you go to different practices and, you know, you kind of see them off to the side and not in the cypher with the guys. But like when I was dancing with my crew, you know, for a long time, I was the only female. So I had no choice but to get in there with the men and just be like, you know what, like, fuck it. Like, I just got to do what I got to do. You know, I mean, I've always had like such a passion for it that I didn't care. Like, I've always gotten like, oh, wow, like you can dance for a white girl. You know, like stupid comments like that, like, oh, you break dance, but, you know, you're not black. And like, yeah, obviously, like last time I checked, you know, but it's funny because you go to Europe and there's a whole bunch of white girls over there breaking. So, you know, it's just one of those things. It's mostly within like our country that it's like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, Europe's. They're like since so when the from what I've seen when the Iron Curtain fell because they were always 20 years behind us when Iron Curtain fell. Now they're like in the 80s and 90s. They're like in the 90s over there now. Like and like as far as artists going over there and performing, they get bread over there, man, because they Europe loves all the elements, right? And the graph is off the hook, the fucking B-boy, Poland, Czech, all that shit is crazy over there right now.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to go over there and you know, experience that vibe too because it like they appreciate it so much over there. Like everybody appreciates it. It's not just like a black thing or, you know, whatever. It's like just appreciated like all around.
Right. No, that's dope. So, yeah, and since nobody taught you, like, yeah, you came in this solo, like, I'm doing this, I'm a DJ, I'm a fucking, and we always had a. It's funny, like every crew I've been in, we've always had just one female, but she was always nice, you know what I mean? But like, it's yeah, but they, you know, the whole point was but they always had you right. They had to. It was weird because check it though, from a male perspective, I'll share this. If you we're at a disadvantage because if we battled a female, if we legitimately beat her, it was like, yo, you beat a girl. If we lost,
You got beat by a girl.
I beat by a girl. You can't do shit. Like you can't do shit. Like, oh, yo, like you know what I'm saying? So, but salute to the female, yeah, because females wrecking the circles, man, and because that's fucking that shit is a testosterone fucking fueled shit, man. Like for real.
Yeah, and you know it's hard on your body. Like it's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of training. Like you pretty much like have to be an athlete. You know, you kind of have to train like an athlete. Like if you want to break and you do it regularly and you're performing and you're doing shows, like you got to like really train.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You got to train. So, I mean, you're still here though. I mean, nothing's scared you away to be like, fuck, I ain't doing that shit. I mean, you're still like, yo, you
Yeah,
know.
I
So,
I've had a lot of things that probably should have scared me off, but I don't know. Like things just kind of fall into place. Like things have fallen into my lap. Like even with the show, you know, like that fell into my lap, you know, and all like because you know during that time, like I was in a situation where I was the most down and out mofo in the world,
oh,
and I
wow.
wasn't gonna be DJing anymore. And then you know. Hyro Day happened because of Tajay, and then you, and then the show, and with the show, like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just like, all right, you know what? Let me fucking figure it out, and I'll just go with it. And it's been good though because like it's funny. I've overlooked like a lot of albums and artists from back in the '90s because there was so much to choose from that I would get stuck on albums for a while. You know, I would get stuck on 3 or 4 albums for a while, and things got overlooked. And now it's like with my show, like I've been able to go back and go into all the different things I overlooked and
Right.
did, you know what I mean? So it's been like a whole new journey as far as like,
That's dope. That's dope to hear that. I mean, yeah, like, listen, we're amazed. We amaze ourselves a lot, man, and we can do a lot of great things. And it's like, yeah, you didn't. You didn't know what you were doing, but you knew how to DJ, so you could figure the rest out. Like fucking, you know, like that's the technical shit. All right, we'll figure out how to get you to get the show to us and format and all that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But big up our Bad Seed, one of our future guests, Brooklyn, New York. Like you know, you figure it out, man. And like, look, the fact that you taught yourself. Look, anybody that's joining in, she just told me that she taught herself how to fucking DJ. No fucking nobody around. Like, no, I learned from DJ so and so local. She taught herself and fucking holding it down, man. So you know that lets you know that you can, you know, you can figure out how to send us a show. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like you can pretty much figure out whatever. Like if you have like a passion for it, if you really want to do something, you know.
right. Completely fucking taught herself. So and again, you stick out like a sore thumb, man. I mean, like, let's keep it 100. And the fact, like, yo, like I said, everybody, I came into this shit at Iro Day. Tajay's like, yo, keep it on red, DJ Safire. I'm like, what? Like, all right, whatever. I mean, I'd never been to a silent joint. You know what I mean? He's like, keep it on red. I went in and she banged it out for like what felt like eternity. It was a couple hours. So that shit, yeah, killing it, and the rest is history. So big picture, like, what do you know, for you, music wise, what's your thing? Are you just doing it because you love to do it? Do you want to make some bread off of it, or like, is it just this is what I love to do? I'm always going to do it until my fingers won't do it anymore, or you know, what's your deal with it?
I mean, right now, I just do it because I love it. I've always done it because I love it. Like, you know, even with dancing, like I never made a ton of money dancing. I never made a ton of money DJing. Like it would be nice to make some bread, you know, but at the same time, it's like I don't do it for money. Like I do it just for the sheer like passion of it.
I feel you. Nah, I mean that's what it's all about. I mean, and you still, you know, you've been posted. You know, she's like still getting in at 48, B girl and spinning around, twirling. And no, that's dope, man. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. Like, you know, I mean, I feel the same way, and it's like, salute to you though for again jumping in there and just saying I'm gonna fucking do this and rocking out. But like you said, since a little toddler, you've been, you know, been around good music is that frequency, man. Like you've been around that shit. It's like it stays with you, you know.
Yeah, I always was around it. I always had a passion for it, and salute to you too, because I know like you're a very like passionate person about music, and you know doing these interviews is great too because it's like you get to know like a lot of people's history and like where it came from and where
Yeah.
that's dope in itself, you
No,
know.
good. I mean that part's been good. We've gotten a lot of great stories that like blew our minds. So you know we're very fortunate, and so for us it's about all the elements. So like it's always great when we have DJs on, and very rarely we have graph writers on, but like DJs and B girls and B boys and stuff, because it's not just it's never just been about rap for me. I started out as a B-boy. I mean that's my introduction to this whole shit. Like I didn't get into the lyrics and music
Oh,
until it actually started appealing to me. I mean that first that hippity hop, that you know, a lot of the early shit I wasn't fucking with. I mean I'm not gonna be honest with you. I mean later 85, 86, LL and stuff like that, I was like, okay, Slick Rick and shit, rock him, and then it was over. But you know, so yeah, for us, it's about, you know, that's why for us, it's really important to have you on and talk about stuff other than just rap music all the time. Because when people think about hip hop now, what do you think about? You think about rap music. You know, we don't think about the DJ or the, you know, the foundation of the whole shit.
yeah, the elements have been like real separated now. And it's funny because like back in the 90s, you could go to an event and there would be graph writers, there would be MCs, there'd be DJs, and there'd be B-boys. Like you would see all that shit in one room.
Facts,
Now,
facts.
now like you have to go, you go different places, and it's not like that anymore. You go see rap, you go see b-boying, you go see DJs. It's not like that.
Right. They're existing. I mean, I've talked about it with Rob Swift. I mean, it's all existing in their individual silos. But back in the day, everybody had a hand style. Like, even if you didn't have to write, but like you still had like the way you wrote. Like, I mean, it was every people. We all kind of dabbled in shit, and then you kind of found your niche. You know what I mean? But everybody kind of did a little bit of something. For, you know, everybody MC'd. I produced. I MC'd. I mean, so like it was all one. Yeah, it's definitely separate now. Yeah, the music is only the focus, not the culture. Yeah, the music. I mean, the music is where the bread's been, so that's where the focus is. So the focus is where the bread is, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
you know, but we're still out there. We're still pushing for the culture. So we got Mr. Sinister on next week. So salute to you for setting that up. We about to get on out of here. We got another show. Number
Yeah.
3 with our people's Save the Hip Hop Culture, the after party, and then next week then the week after we got the Bad Seed, Brooklyn. So, this week, sorry, this Sunday we got on Napoleon and Legend. So, but yo, thank you, man. I really appreciate you for rocking. And catch DJ Safire. Go to Rap FM. Archive shows are there, and you're also on Beatminders Radio. So when are the shows actually aired? You know when they are. I can't remember.
Thursday 5 p.m. on Rap FM, and Sunday 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Beatminders Radio.
Yeah. So yeah, you listen. I'm telling you, fuck with her. Like, listen. I don't tell you no. I get hyped about this shit, man. I don't tell you guys no fucking fuckery, man. Like, listen. I mean, I do post fuckery, but like this ain't fuckery. Safire, she the truth, man. Like, I don't fuck with no slouches, man. She's ill, trust. So everybody rock with her. What's it? DJ Safire 1?
Yep, DJ Safire 1.
DJ Safire 1.
Yep.
And we'll get this up on the YouTube channel. All of our builds are on the YouTube channel. This has been episode 104, the Carrying the Culture Show. We'll go roll a L. We go back after party. Thank you. I'll get this up and I'll tag you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Salute.
We'll talk soon. All right.